I only needed a few blanks.
The original Fisherman's Tale was one of the most innovative escape room-inspired VR puzzle games I've seen yet. It hits you with the premise right away that you're controlling not just one, but 3 versions of yourself simultaneously. It's a gimmick that the game's short 90-minute runtime never gives a chance to get old. But this time around, developer Innerspace crafted a much longer game, clocking it at around 4 hours. But that, unfortunately, created just as many problems as it solves.
We did it!
Now we could make progress.
Another Fisherman's Tale serves as both a prequel and a sequel to the first game, frequently putting you in the shoes of Bob's daughter, who, through the course of unpacking boxes in her basement and listening to her dementia-riddled mother, learns more about her father's past, finding out the full story behind the tales her father told her when she was younger. It's a nice way to break up the game's 5 chapters, but for a majority of the time, you'll be playing as the OG Light Keeper himself on his search for Libertalia. But Bob has a few new tricks up his sleeve this time around. The new hook for the game is that Bob can now detach his head and hands and control them from a distance in order to solve puzzles. This means you'll frequently be controlling your body in third person, but with a first-person control scheme, reminiscent of good old PlayStation 1 Resident Evil tank controls. And if you think that's awkward, just wait until you're twisting your real hands trying to get your detached in-game hand to run or swim in the direction you want. It's a fun gimmick that I absolutely loved at first, but it quickly outstays its welcome when you find yourself knowing the solution to puzzles, but too often frustrated with the controls to execute them properly. It's a problem that plagued the entire game for me from start to finish, with so many great, memorable moments that get in their own way with controls that simply don't respond the way that you think they should.
Ah, yes. Again, I was fixing the pirate's ship for them.
The other big puzzle element is the ability to swap out Bob's hands for crab claws, pirate hooks, crane controls, and more. But with no inventory system, the game is forced to make sure that the correct appendage is always sitting near the puzzle itself so you're able to solve it, which means the player never has to think too hard about which hand to use. It's always right there. A far better solution, in my opinion at least, would have been allowing the player to collect different hands throughout the course of the game and then be forced to cycle through all the ones in their inventory to find the best solution for the task at hand. Why wasn't that a thing? Maybe the developers thought that it would be too challenging, but honestly, I think the game could have used some more challenging puzzles. Another Fisherman's Tale looks and sounds decent enough, but the overall look doesn't quite stack up to the original, which featured crisp, clear environments with a rich color palette. This one looks a little bit washed out by comparison, with a softer, low-res look overall. And I'm really getting sick of saying this, but the NPCs and narrators in this game just never shut up. Sure, I know, it's a narrative-driven adventure, but I desperately wanted a little peace and quiet now and then. And those subtitles? Well, you can't turn those off either, which drove me crazy.
Intoxicated.
Once or twice upon a time.
An experienced treasure hunter, I made quick work of the search.
Developer Innerspace set out to create something new and innovative in the VR puzzle space, and to that degree I do think they succeeded. Another Fisherman's Tale is far more daring than the original, and I'm glad I got to experience it. But my sense of wonder was too often drowned out by my frustration, and the novelty of the new puzzle gimmicks wore off long before the credits rolled. So honestly, I do think that if you're looking for a new puzzle adventure, I'd save my $30 for next week's Red Matter 2, which is a far better game in almost every way imaginable, except maybe ingenuity.
On the upper decks, state-of-the-art security. No surprise with the treasure I'd found. I'd need an extra pair of hands to access the control room.